Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Small Business Stories. By now, you know my voice. I am Dr. LL Loralyn, and every week we've got fantastic guests covering different aspects of, well, entrepreneurship and small business ownership. Today in the house, we've got Christine Blosdale. She is the expert authority coach, and she is going to give us the lowdown on do we have to be everywhere or not? Hi, Christine. Welcome to the show.
Hello, it's so nice to be with you. I've been really looking forward to our conversation and to help inspire and motivate your listeners to stop being in that stuck space of trying to do too much and not knowing where to go, and to have a bit of a plan in action.
Oh, but isn't that what it's all about? And I've been excited to have you on my show because it's really fun to flip the microphone around. You've got your podcast, which
Mhm.
is booming. You've got a lot of activity and traction with that, and it's fun. Like, what do you think of the experience when you're flipping around and you're on the other side of the mic?
Well, for 20 years, I was in broadcast journalism and I was on radio, and I was the interviewer, right? So I've also had every single pitch known to man sent to me from people wanting to be on there. I want to be on your radio show. I want to be on your podcast. I want to. And so, being as the host, communicating with people for 20 years. And then about 11 years ago, I got into this thing called podcasting, and 11 or 12 years ago. And I thought it was so exciting because I would be able to still do interviews with people, but then it would live on. Those interviews could live on forever or for years and years. Whereas in radio, if you listen to it, you caught it. If you didn't, too bad. So that was really a wonderful thing. But being now on the flip side, for the last, I'd say, year, I've gotten to be the guest on podcast shows. And it is really exciting to be on this side of the mic, so to speak, because it's an opportunity for me to share my expertise and to help people in business, especially women in business. That's my specialty. Overwhelmed women in business who they, they feel that they got to wear too many hats and they don't know where to start. So a lot of times they don't start at all. And so I'm really excited to be with you on the show. And because also you know what it's like to have clients that you say you should do this, and they don't listen. And then a guest of yours comes on and says, "Hey, I think you should do this." And then somebody comes up and says, "You know what Christine said? She said we should do that." Oh, I understand. It's just like having kids.
Right? As long as it comes from somebody else. Okay, so there's
Yes,
about seven different threads in there that I want to pull on and get things going.
sure.
First, on the topic of being a podcast guest versus the host,
Yeah.
it's much less planning. You just show up.
Yeah.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And my clients, I'll know immediately when I'm speaking with them if they have the charms, so to speak, and the wherewithal to be a podcast host. And I think it's a great marketing tool. It's a brilliant way to show your potential clients, customers a bit about you and your style and your communication, your personality, right? So that's great. But there's a lot of them that I go, no, 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 no. You should not be a podcast host and go down that road, but you really need to be a guest on podcast because not only is it easy, you show up, you're sharing your expertise, but I'm being able as a guest now, being able to be in front of an audience I could never reach. Your SEO goes through the roof. Your chat GPTO, or your ask engine optimization also goes through the roof because of those show notes and your name and your title, your website a lot of times. So it is an absolute brilliant opportunity for people, but there needs to be a strategy and you need to be really clear on your messaging and what who you are and what you do and how you serve people. So we don't want to just be a guest just to be, go down Storyland Lane. We want to have a purpose with that. And so I'm always grateful to have the opportunity to talk to a new audience.
Okay, so you added another thread there, being intentional. So we're going to come back to that too. I'm that
Yes.
whole ADHD squirrel thing, but I like closing the loops. I don't like all these open. So
Okay. Yes.
last thread on the being a podcaster.
Yeah.
What drives you crazy about podcast guests?
Oh my goodness. Well, that vague, being vague. The other thing, one of the worst interviews I ever had. This person showed up great in their pitch. They had a media kit. They had a book. The book was a great title. I was like, oh my gosh, we could talk about this for hours. I'll have to invite them back on the show, right? And then when I actually got down to the interview, I would set them up with this great question, this lob, if you're playing tennis, it's when the ball's up nice and high and you could smash it down. And every answer, it was just like three-worded answers. Th- it was like pulling teeth. I mean, just to get anything out of this person. And so that's one of my big things is that you need to be a good conversationalist. You need to be interesting. It doesn't matter what your expertise is, but you need to have some sort of maybe even story, signature story, but a personality that comes across well. Remember, with podcasting, we can't see you, but we can feel you and we can hear you. And so what you say and the way you say it is very, very important. So if you're giving 2 or 3 word answers, that's a big faux pas in my book.
Oh, absolutely. I've had several guests, same thing over the years, and never published their episodes because
No.
it's like, so like you said, you give them that generous gift. Here, we're going to talk about your upcoming book launch, and I've just put it on a platter for you. And you say, yeah, I guess. Okay, next question. And you've gone through your 10 questions you've planned in the first 2 minutes. Or not to nitpick here, but I want to do this because anybody who's listening that using podcasting as a strategy for growth and visibility, you've got to be dialed into the here and now about what are the things
Yes.
that are going on. And
Yes.
don't give long-winded answers that go on for 5, 6 minutes without taking a breath, right? What do you think about that one?
You know what? I'm giving you a high five virtually here because I had another person on who was the complete opposite of that lovely, lovely, lovely lady, but complete opposite. Where I had just asked the initial question, and they went on and on and on. And what I found was they were trying to monopolize the mic and the conversation to the point where, right when I thought they were summing up their thought or they were going to end the sentence, and then I could come in, they went off. It was like, oh my goodness, you're trying to hijack the show. And I didn't publish it. I didn't publish that episode because it was so obvious. And it was so obvious they were selling. That's the other thing. You know
Yeah.
what? Listen, if people are really interested in who you are and they're attracted to or they're magnetized to you, your coaching or your book or whatever, they will seek that out. And the host usually puts a link, to those types of things. But when you're doing a hard pitch, no, no, it's a no no.
Yeah, it doesn't come off well. And then the whole thing about trying to be somebody you're not. If you're not a good conversationalist, don't put yourself in the position where you're going to be on a podcast. It's not going to
Right.
work.
No, it's not going to work. And the other thing is too is that I do video with my podcast. I do audio and video, of course, for YouTube and things like that, and also social media clips. And a word of warning: if you're going to do an interview, first of all, have a microphone. A microphone, if they don't cost that much, and you sound so much better and clearer. If you're in an echoey place, or if you're another thing is if in the background you've got dirty laundry on your bed, don't don't do the interview there. Yeah. Don't do the interview. You know what? Because I'm going to be looking at your laundry. I'm going to be looking at what's in the background, and it's distracting. So we want to have at least some sort of nice, background. You've got a really cool art piece there, and I love the blue. That I love the colors that you have. Right, so it comes across really well and professional.
Well, thank you for that. It's Tiffany blue, right? As you know,
It
there you go.
is. It
A
is.
little bling.
I was trying to figure out where I've seen that color before. You're right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, last thing, and then I promise we're going to move on to some of this. But again, because podcasts are a viable growth strategy for you to get your word out there and use different channels, you've got to do the thing right. Here's my latest
Yeah.
soapbox. All the publicists that are pinging me to put their guests on the show, I'm grateful. I love the referrals. Fantastic. Thank you very much. But set up your automated workflows so that after I respond, you stop sending the ping. You know, I get, dear L, I've got a great guest, dear L. Did you listen to the show? Do you know my
Yep.
name? And that's usually a pretty good turnoff.
The thing that I get and I immediately delete is when it's an email that comes and it says I listened to your the episode you did with Susie Smith was just fantastic, and it's all language, which is all AI. It's AI generated language. And first of all, I know that they didn't listen to the show, right? If you're lucky to get through the gauntlet to my show or to Loralyn's show, if you're able to get through, then make sure you do listen. But it really helps if you listen to the program before you do the pitch, and then that way also you know the audience, you know the style of the host and all of that stuff. But don't lie, don't pretend like you're a publicist when it's just you pitching. That's why I pitch my myself. I write those pitch emails, because I want to communicate with the host and let them know. And a lot of times, if I haven't listened to the show, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say, yeah, I listened to your latest episode when I haven't. It's not authentic.
And how it's just not cool. And everything is just so AI-ified these days. It's really hard to filter it through, which is one of the big reasons why, and you said it at the beginning of the show, why podcasting is a really good vehicle for small businesses because your personality gets to come through. Even in how we
Yes.
write, if we blog or this or that in our book, if we're creating professional books, we'll probably tend to be more professional, less colloquial about how we're attacking the
Yeah.
book and setting up the content. So this is a really good vehicle. I mean, I love it. And I learned so much from my guests. There's so many where I've left and gone, oh, Christine said to do that. I better go check that out.
Yeah. It's
That's
a
great.
wonderful experience because also, and many of the show hosts that I meet, by being a guest on their program, many of them I get to collaborate with down the road. We do co-ventures. They become participants in my stacks or my bundles that I give away, and sometimes they become my clients, and sometimes I become their clients. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's a we understand each other and we know how much work also goes into creating a podcast. There is work involved. And you can have a staff of people doing your editing and things like that. I do everything myself because I'm a control freak. I know what I like, I know what I don't like. But there's a camaraderie that you have when you have somebody on who's also a podcast host. But the great relationships that you can have, and you're reaching a completely different audience. One great I don't want to say tactic, but one a really great idea is that when you offer a podcast host to swap, in other words, so that I'll be on your show, but I would really love to have you come on my show and reach my audience. That's a win-win, and that helps get you booked on shows. In addition to other things, that you want to have in your arsenal, your media kit and things, but it really does help. It's not just saying I give me something. It's saying, yes, you're giving me something, a platform to speak, but I'd also like to reciprocate that and give you a platform to speak.
Which I never ask my guests to do and put them on the spot. But invitations are always welcome to guest in other people's podcasts. And I'll put that out there like
Well,
that.
you're invited to come on my podcast too.
Excellent. Well, there we go. Thank you for that. And
Yeah.
sharing. This is the thing that's surprising me most. So, as you said, you finally go through all the gauntlet, all the hurdles. Oh my goodness, all the obstacles, this, that, there. You finally get cleared, your calendars align, and then you reschedule a couple of times. And then you get on, you get booked, and you're out there, and you don't share the podcast. Really?
Then you will never be invited back.
Oh, bingo, bingo. Oh my goodness. I don't need people to come back. I'd love for some of them to, because it's just been amazing and to get their updates. But there is such a long line. I'm into a queue now, summer 2027. And so
Wow.
yeah, this is how it can go. But again, not an overnight success. We are in season 6. There have been a few hundred other episodes, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But if
but
you are a guest,
share
if
it.
you're lucky enough to get on a show, and the host takes the time and the effort and the all the work that goes into after, once you say goodbye, bye, okay, see you later, all the work that goes into it, the editing, the thought processes, the mixing, the publishing, the marketing, all of that is for your benefit, and it's basically putting you on a pedestal and promoting who you are. So at the very least, you should be putting it out on your social media and your large social media accounts, or put them on all. But then also you've got an email database you could put that out to. It only raises your expert authority. And I suggest too, if somebody is being a guest on a lot of podcasts, create a Spotify playlist. That's what I do. I have a Spotify playlist of all my appearances. Well, not all, because I only thought of it, you know, the last probably year and a half. But I've got about 60 episodes. And those are all shows that I was a guest on. And those hosts did a lot of work, and it helps you get booked on other shows as well. So tell the world that you're on a show, and also ask the host, what's the best link for you? What link would you like me to share? Is it Apple Podcasts so you get more followers there, or do you want me to share your YouTube channel if it's a video version, or Spotify? What do you like to have promoted? That also shows a bit of consideration for the host as well. And do it, share that. Yeah, it's a
Right.
big faux. I hate
Right.
that too.
Right? Yeah, it's
Oh,
like damn straight. I agree with you on almost all the levels, except it's not just a win for them. It's also a win for us as the podcast hosts because it also
yeah,
helps with our visibility and expanding our
of
network.
course.
So it
Absolutely.
has to be, it's got to be the triple win. The listeners have to benefit, the guest has to benefit, and the podcast host has to benefit. And when that happens, right, the stars align and people notice what's going on, which is
Yes.
what we all want, right? That's the goal.
It's a good decent thing to do.
That
That's my
too, right?
grandmother.
Being human.
That's as
Wow,
my
thank you. I'm
grandmother
going to
used to
honor your
say.
efforts, right? Nothing wrong with being human. All right, so let's move now into some of the other threads related to the growth and visibility. So we have talked about the value of podcasting, right? I think that's
Yes.
pretty clear to our listeners. And we've talked about the
Yes.
pitfalls. Don't do it if you're going to do the podcast route. But what do you say to the small business owner, entrepreneur who's like, I'm so overwhelmed between the home, the dinners, the kids, the this, the that, and I got to do a freaking podcast, and I got to blog on Substack now because you can't blog on your own website, so you got to go through that whole thing. Oh my God, and my Instagram and my Reels and my YouTube, like, what do you say?
In the majority of the cases where people feel overwhelmed like that, I will dial them way back. I'll bring them way back because what happens is they become almost hyperactive and like a kid on sugar. They're like, I got to do this and I got to do that and I need clients and it's the stink of desperation. It's a smell. It's an energy, and it's icky and it's poo poo. So I tell people, first of all, let's dial it back. A lot of times they're doing all of that and they don't have a solid foundation. They don't have a solid foundation in their brand, in their offers. They're offering everything to everybody, right? Because they don't want to miss out on something. They're like, well, I'll have all these different programs for all these different people doing all these different things. You're causing confusion. And I want to, it's not about niching down. It's about having a real central point that people can enter your world, but you're not going to bring people into your home unless you have a solid foundation. Unless you've laid the concrete down, you got some carpet or some nice wood, whatever, you got some furniture. If it's in construction phase, in demolition phase, once you get people in there, they're going to run right out the door, right? So you have to have that. You have to set up that foundation, which is your brand, your style, who you are, and most importantly, what it is that you do. How many times, Lauren, how many times have you gone to somebody's website and it's gobs of copy, usually written by ChatGPT, and a picture here or there, and you don't know, you haven't a clue what they actually do.
Yes,
You
that
really
has
don't.
happened many times. And aside from the ChatGPT writing it all for me, I've even done it. I've had some really crappy websites that I've put out there. And over the years, I've gotten better because in ChatGPT, I can't even blame that. I can blame me. That's it. And I can blame, oh, my web dev team. Well, how come you didn't pick up on that and say that that was pretty crappy, right? And so
Right.
I've learned too, just too many things. As the ADHD squirrel, I'm like, oh, but I want to do that, and I want to do that, and I want to do that. And then until the alignment really starts to happen. Like you can almost see like the planets converging, right? Oh,
Yes.
okay, there's the one. Oh, there's the next star. And then you can see that. And it starts to really light the path and go, wait a minute, this is the one that's clicking, literally clicking. because revenues are happening at the end of it because I've got things dialed in tight enough that people know what does Loralyn do.
Oh, Laura, you nailed it. You that exact. I wish I just like capture that bit and send it to everybody that I've ever worked with. When you have too many options, too many things, people will choose none. Okay. And when people say, but I am multi-talented and I can do all of these things for my clients, that's great. But you need to bring them in the door first with the major message, right? Through your personality, through the stuff that you create, but you need to bring them in the door. And then once they're there in your world, you can say, hey, by the way, I also coach people on how to I can create a podcast with you, not for you, with you. And I'll show you how to edit, how to record, how to publish, and all these things. But I don't go in to somebody or market myself as someone who's a podcast coach and a book publishing coach and a social media coach, and I'll also help you with your TikToks. I can do all those things, but the messaging is too confusing. First, I bring them in through I'm an expert authority coach. I will help you promote your business through your expert authority, and we do different things depending on your personality. You may not be a podcast host kind of person, but man, you're really great on video, right? Or your communication style is so good when you speak. Let's get a book out of you. And they go, but I'm not a writer. It's okay. I'm not either. I have 5 bestsellers and I'm not a writer. I'm a talker. And I found a way to take my speeches, my webinars, my workshops, my podcast appearances, and I take all those golden gems, all the information and experience, and I put that into a program that allows me to create chapters in a book or modules in a course. So, but we need to bring people down and in to a real clear message so people can come in and they can go, oh, you can also do that. I didn't know you can also do my chart in human design. Hell yeah, I'll have that service, right?
And that's the thing. You raised two key problems. One, the conundrum of choice.
Yes.
Think exploding head emoji after three or more choices. That's why everything's the rule of three. We can only visually accept and absorb three things positioned together. That's why the design theory works. Or if we're trying to buy something, all of the packages that are software where it says, here's the basic or the entry, most popular, right? The middle one or the other one, right? I mean, that's because people do that.
The
And
rule of
this,
three.
right? Exactly. And the second problem that you raised is the level of ADHD, lack of focus that goes on in the world. Most small business owners, over half, are self diagnosed with ADHD. So a lot of us, I'll put myself in that bucket, we're all over like, oh, but I'm attracted to that. That's bright. And then we've got this bright, shiny new object syndrome. And so we like everything. And then we become the Jill of all trades, but the master of none. And so that's
Yes.
why I think your positioning as an authority coach is really absolutely critical. It's what people need. What is your thing, right? What's
What
the
is your
thing,
thing?
what's a hill you're going to die
Yes.
on, right?
Yes. What is your thing? And I've had clients too go, I don't know what my thing is. And I'll talk to them, even in a discovery call, it's 30 minutes. And in 30 minutes, I can nut down what your thing is and come up with a title that's unique and it makes you stand out. So you're not just going to be a business coach. You might be I have a client he's a young man with ADHD, and his whole thing is helping other young men with ADHD become more social, become more interactive, and self-improvement, right? And personal development. And so I was just like, well, he's like your everyday guy. And I said, so your ADHD guy. Just plain and simple, right? I have other people who are super brainiacs and stuff like that, and what they don't realize is that the general population is not as does not has not studied and doesn't have the vernacular, the words that they're used to. So we kind of just keep it so that when people say, "What is it that you do?" you can spit it out in a single sentence, right? People go, "What do you do, Christine?" Well, I'm an expert authority coach. I help overwhelmed, and my clients are women in business. I help overwhelmed women in business get seen, get trusted, and get paid for what they already know. I could say that in my sleep. So what you want to do is you want to be able to have that mantra, your mantra, that's easy for you to remember, easy for you to say. And I've asked so many people, so what is it you do? Oh, what is it that I don't do? I do everything. I do everything for everybody. I do a little of this. I do a little bit of that. I throw spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks. Nobody's going to want to hire you for anything. It's too
No.
confusing.
And that's just it, right? For all of those reasons. So, one of the other things you talked about is stitching together everything you've done to harvest it, right? And two
Yeah.
fur, three fur, four fur, whatever, how many furs, right? You can squeeze out of there. That's really the goal, all of that content. And it took me a long time to even realize that too, hundreds of episodes later, where it really is a gold mine worth mining. There's a lot of valuable insights, so many centuries of expertise if you add it all up for all of the people that have been on the show. And why are
Huge.
we using it more wisely? And so that's really been my focus lately is how do I do a better job getting that story out?
Well, if you've had, and if let's say you've had 100 episodes, let's just say podcast episodes, and let's say the majority of them are women in business, professionals, right? Leaders, coaches, transformational wellness folk, okay? And you've got 100 of them. You have 100 chapters in books. You could just do even a book on the top 20 women who whatever the cool title is, right? Women who rock, women who busted through that glass ceiling and they're going to the heavens, whatever. I don't know, whatever the title is. But if you had, even if you focus on 20 of them, right? That's 20 chapters in the book. And of course, it's a great marketing tool for you because you are the host, you are the person bringing, if somebody said to me, "Hey, Christine, I'm publishing a book and I would like one of the chapters to be," and I've had this. I have clients that said they've written books and they said, "You're chapter 1 or you're chapter 22 or whatever," because your expertise, I think it's your story, your stories and your expertise is going to help people. Would you like to be in the book? Is it okay to publish? And I'm like, hell yeah. We'll put your website link up. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
So you
Right?
would have so many books that you could write, right? That you could create. And it's already written for you because it's you take the transcript, you're not going to take the transcript and turn that into a book. You're going to take the transcript and massage it, obviously. But you you have so many books and those books are Kindles. And those are bestsellers and they're audiobooks. You know what I'm saying? Like you already got the audio. You right? So you could
Jesus.
repurpose that in so many different ways and everybody wins, right? It's the trifecta. It's the trifecta. The reader wins, you win because you got a great book, and all those people, those 20 guests that you had on, they're all promoting it too. Hey, I'm in a book, right?
Right. That's the idea,
Buy,
right?
click
That's
this
what we're
link.
doing.
Right.
And we hope that it get there. So is it all lost if people don't harvest what they've done out of their podcast or their blogs or stitch it together? Where do you think, given where the world is with AI and the crowded marketplace that we live in?
Oh, and but I never believe there's a crowded marketplace for you to stand out for your expertise. There's something for everyone, so to speak. I think it's really important because I've had some people who've wanted to work with me, and actually, I don't really want to work with them because they come from a very negative space, right? A I'll say, oh my God, I met a lady the other day, incredible personality. I mean, her personality jumps right out at you. And it's like, oh my gosh, you need to be on video. You need to be on TikTok. Nah, TikTok's for kids. I'm on Facebook and I'm not getting any traction on Facebook and because Facebook it's your relatives, it's your people that you went to high school with. You're not reaching it outside of that and where your clients are or where your potential tribe, your community is. And yet, if you've got this dynamic personality, you need to get seen and heard. And if you're hiding in your basement, being afraid and not wanting to venture out, then nobody's going to know about your business. So I think that's really important. But it needs to be that thing where, everybody wins, and that there is no thing of being oversaturated. Are there business coaches and social media coaches and you know website expert? Of course, there's millions of them probably, but there's nobody like me. There's nobody like you. There's nobody that has 20 years broadcast journalism experience. There's nobody that worked for AOL at the height of AOL who did an entertainment column and was working with celebrities and doing that whole spiel in Hollywood. There's nobody that has that experience of going from radio broadcasting 20 years into podcasting and seeing that whole thing and seeing how podcasting kind of killed the radio star type thing, right? There's nobody that has that experience or who's grown up in Los Angeles during the cool years, during the late 60s and the early 70s. There's nobody that has that. And it's the same thing for everybody listening. Nobody has your experience and your life experiences, the things that you've overcome, the diseases that you've overcome, the obstacles, the divorce, the whatever. So that's what I always say. You're very unique, and you need to always keep that in mind. But you got to get out there and communicate your message, or nobody knows you exist, really.
Bingo. You got to start somewhere, right? Like they say, everybody can run a
Yes.
marathon. You just got to take the first step, right? And
Yeah.
the first step should be clarifying your message,
Bingo.
right?
Absolutely.
What do you stand for?
That's the
What do you build?
number
What do you
the number
create,
one
right?
thing. You
Yeah.
need to build your house on a solid foundation. And I see far too many people throwing so much money and time and effort, and they get burned out and they get disillusioned and they stop their business because they're already building the second story and they haven't built the foundation of their house. It's going to fall. So you have to start at that at that level, and make it easy for people to book time with you. Make it easy for people to pay you. That's the other thing. If you don't have a way for people to pay you, this whole thing, oh well, I'll invoice you, and I'll say no.
Click.
Yeah. Exactly. No, if it's confusing, I'm gone. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to figure it out. I just want to know what it is, how much it is, if it's doable, and the value behind it. If you bring true value into my life, I'm yours.
You will pay. Yes. And that's the whole thing.
Absolutely.
That's what we're all seeking, right? It'll be a trade-off. I'll give you value. In exchange, click the link and put some money in my account. Please and
Yes.
thank you. Right? Because that
Yes.
that's how it is. I get so many people asking me about, I do a lot of government contracts. And they'll be like, well, if you just wrote that grant for me, it's due in a couple of days and sent it out. Do I have to pay you when the money comes in? And it's like, there's lots of layers wrong with that. Yes, you have to pay me. B, it won't happen next
Before.
get
Yeah.
announced. And C, I'm a good grant writer, but you may not win, even with my skills and your business and everything else, because it's
Yeah.
really competitive. Yeah. So yeah, some people are just clueless. I don't know. But back to you here. Any last parting advice as we're heading towards the wrap here for the show?
Yes, yes. Okay, so I will tell you this right now. As we are witnessing as human species, the most important thing is to be authentic, to be real, to be you. It is an energy, it is a vibe, it is palpable. You need to be as authentic as you can. Don't pretend to be somebody else. Don't try to be perfect. We see what's going on in the world around us every single day. You go to social, whatever. Hollywood is crumbling. The music industry is crumbling. We're seeing it's not all, ooh, it's icky, icky. Politics, and it doesn't matter if you're in the blue team or the red team or the purple team, that we see and we can smell a lie. We are waking up out of our little Disneyland life, and we can smell when somebody is lying to us. So, one of your strong suits, one of your shields, one of your most important things is to be authentic and real and honest and truthful. And trust me, the doors will open up for you for the right clients. Your vibe, your energy, your authenticity will bring in the people that you want to work with way better than trying to pretend, because it's a lie when you're trying to pretend you're something that you're not. When people work with me, just by looking at my videos or going to my website, they know what they're getting immediately, right? They know what kind of a person I am, the energy that I have. And they're either attracted to that or they're repelled by it. And those that are repelled by it, hallelujah, you know, that's good because I don't have to spend my life force with them. I get to work with people that I really love, that I really like working with. So it's a blessing. So be authentic. That's my huge message for your listeners today.
Amen to that because it's so freeing. Ever since I left corporate, I can be me. I don't have to be
Mm,
square peg round hole. This is me. Good, bad,
yeah.
ugly, all of it. Here I am, right? All right. So
Yes.
you talked about your website and all that. How can people find you? Where can people find you?
Yes, the two most important websites I will give you right now. So to find out all the things that I do and the get the books and all that stuff and the podcast shows, you just go to expertauthoritycoach.com. That's expertauthoritycoach.com. You find me there and you can connect with me there if you like. But if you wanted to tomorrow have a free strategy session with me, discovery call, it's 30 minutes. That's a lot of time with you. And you can book that in today by going to chatwithchristineb.com. That's chatwithchristineb.com. That's my booking calendar, and you can get on the books right away, up to 90 days in advance, I think. But you can book that in today, and we will have that conversation, and we'll get a little fire underneath you, get you going.
Well, if this podcast episode hasn't gotten people fired up about the potential of podcasting and the need for clear messaging, between the two of us chit-chatting, I don't
I don't
know
know.
what podcast is going to do it or what vehicle, right? It's there. You've got the expertise, all the media, the decades behind the scenes, the radio, all that stuff. One of the early adopters of podcasting. So, Christine Blosdale, before we let you go as the expert
Mhm.
authority coach, my signature question of the show is if we got to peek into your closet and there was some footwear that best personified who you are, tell us what we're looking at and why those shoes, sandals, hiking boots, whatever it is, represents
Yes.
you.
Well, first of all, when you open my closet, before we go down to look at the shoes, everything in my wardrobe is black because I it's my favorite
I
color.
saw that. I matched you
Okay.
today.
Yes, and because I had this connection with Darth Vader, I think when I was very young, and I just stuck with that whole black thing. So, but if you look down, okay, so what the I have a pair of Crocs. Now, I used to be that person that said I will never wear those ugly shoes ever in my life. I am 61 now, and you know what? I walk around barefoot in my house. If I could walk around barefoot everywhere, I would. I love being barefoot. But when I had to go in for surgery, I knew, and it was like major surgery. I knew that I was not going to be bending over and putting on tying shoelaces or putting on tight shoes. And so I got a pair of Crocs, and these Crocs have all those little charms on them, all the different things. When I look down, they're all things that I like. So one's like a little dollar sign, like money. One's a Darth Vader helmet. One is Bert and Ernie or whatever. So they're my fun shoes. They're my fun things, and I do like to wear them. I don't wear them out so much, but I do wear them around the house when it's cold. So that's one of my weird things that I have in my closet.
Oh, I don't call it weird having asked this question of 300 plus guests. I think that's the one that best personifies who the guest is because like you said it's a collection of all your little favorite things as the
Yeah,
stickers or
yeah,
charms, whatever in the Crocs. That's awesome. So with
yeah.
that, that is a wrap. Christine Blosdale, the expert authority coach. I thank you so much for bringing your energy and
Thank,
your insights to our podcast today.
thank you so much, Laurelyn. It's been a blast. And you come on my show. You can let's swap. You come on my
I'm,
show one time.
I'm down for that. Let me know.
Okay. Okay, great.